Peace, 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 y'all. And welcome to Monday, October 3rd, 2022. This is our AM Inspiration Show to wake that ass up. And the topic today is 7 steps to self-mastery. With that being said, let's give you 30 more seconds of this slow vibe to get you ready, to get you situated. And we're going to get right into the topic. Peace, peace, y'all. Straight up. Okay, all right then. So, hey y'all, this is your host, Empress Coach Renee Nicole. I just want to send a friendly reminder out there in those streets, in those YouTube streets, Clubhouse streets, Facebook streets, that this podcast is streaming live from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Clubhouse, Spoon app, Anchor, and will be uploaded to Spotify. With that being said, let's get right into this topic. 7 steps to self-mastery. Now, if you are in those Clubhouse streets and you're happening to scroll by and you're looking for us, check out the club called Sustainable Relationships. Yes. And if you're on Spoon, look up my name and you'll find me on Spoon, okay? But if you're on Spoon and you want to speak to us, make sure you hit that phone icon so I can bring you up to the stage. If you're on Clubhouse, make sure you raise your hand so I can bring you up to the stage. Everybody else, it's free reign. Click that StreamYard link up in Clubhouse. Click it on Facebook. Click it in your text messages. Click it in your back channels. Let's go. With that being said, yes. So when you think of 7 steps to self-mastery, when I think of it anyway, I began to think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay? So the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is definitely a motivational theory in psychology, comprising of a 5-tier module of human needs, often depicted as hierarchical levels within the pyramid, okay? So from the bottom of the pyramid up, the needs are physiological, which are food and clothing, safety, which is job and security, love and belonging needs, friendship, esteem, and self-actualization. Now, the needs lower down in the hierarchy must be satisfied before individuals can attend to the needs higher. Okay? So you have to realize that. Excuse me. So deficiency need versus growth needs. We're going to talk about this first because a lot of people just want to jump into, I want to master myself. I want to master me so I can master chi. But they don't even want to, they don't even have all their needs met as a human. So it would be quite difficult for them to master chi or master G or, do those things if their basic needs are not met. So let's have a conversation about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs first, okay? So that 5-stage model definitely can be divided into deficiency needs and growth needs, okay? The first 4 levels are often referred to as deficiency needs. And the top level is known as a growth and being needs, okay? So deficiency needs are described as they arise due to deprivation, and they're said to motivate people when they are unmet. It's said that your drive gets stronger when they are not met, okay? So the motivation to fulfill such needs will become stronger, and the longer the duration that the needs are denied, Like the longer you go out without food, the more hungry you become. The longer you go without money, the more desperate you become, okay, to fulfill your needs, right? So when a deficit need has been more or less satisfied, it'll go away, right? Okay. So our activities become like habitually, like basically like we throw energy at it, okay, towards meeting the next step of needs, okay, that we have to satisfy, because it's a never ending thing being a human. So it's not like, oh, I satisfy these needs and now I'm done forever. You're gonna be hungry tomorrow, so you'll never be done forever. This is a constant need that we have, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These are constant needs, these are constant things that need to be fulfilled, okay? So ouch, excuse me. When you have these needs, right, they become your salient need, okay? So, however, the growth needs continue to be felt, and they become even more stronger once they've been engaged. Period. Like so when you're looking at like the motivation decreases as needs are met. So, like, say for instance, if you have a home and you have like food, clothing, and shelter, a good family, and things like that, and your self esteem is good. So then you fulfill physiological safety, love, and belonging, and esteem. All those needs are met, right? So then you get more motivation to fulfill the top one, which is self actualization, getting to know yourself more. And once you even reach the tip of that, it increases even more. So you want to know yourself even more and more and more. And this is when we have these conversations that some people did just go deep, deep, deep into themselves and disappear. They go on a mountain, they never come back to humanity, and they just like get obsessed with getting to know themselves because all their other needs are met, and they don't even need that much anymore. The more that they learn who they are, the more they become interconnected with the universe or the Most High or Allah, or whoever master they serve, including themselves, right? So the deeper that you go into yourself, the more interested you become, especially when your needs are met. So you become more detached from the things that we perceive as that most people would think that you need every single in this life, like materialism and stuff like that. You become detached from those things. So your growth needs do not stem from the lack of something, okay? But from the desire to grow as a being, okay? So, like when you're growing, it's not, oh, I need to grow because I lack here. No, okay? Your needs for growth is because you need to grow as a person, period. Okay? So, when you reach that highest that highest level of self awareness is definitely called self actualization. So every being definitely is capable and has a desire to move up the hierarchy towards a level of self actualization, right? So the process is often disrupted by failure to meet the lower needs. I promise you. Like if your housing is messed up, if you're not getting adequate support, if you're not getting adequate food and nutrition, if you don't feel good about yourself, and you have like mental illness and things like that, or you're having trouble with self esteem, you're not securing yourself, the needs will not. You will never get. I won't say never. It will be a very difficult time for you to reach self mastery, especially when your needs are not met. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. So life experiences do happen to all of us, okay? Including things like divorce, losing jobs, and they cause you to fluctuate between the levels of hierarchy, right? All the time, right? So it's no straight path in this existence. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna be a millionaire and everything will go right. You might wake up tomorrow, be a millionaire, and God forbid something tragic happened in your family. So you still got all the money, but now you lost one of your things on your pyramid. You lost your security in your family. So now you're trying to fumble around and trying to get that security back, and you're grieving. So it's gonna take even more time to get back to where you were. That's what we're saying. So life, we're basically saying that life happens. I don't know if y'all ever seen that part on Forrest Gump when he was running and he wiped his face with the thing, and the man was like, "Damn." He's like, "You're covered with mud." And he's like, "It happens." He was like, "What? Shit." Wow. And he's like, "Sometimes." Right. And they came up with the slogan, "Sometimes shit happens," right? Basically is what I'm saying to you, okay? So the original um the original hierarchy of needs goes that the physiological needs are biological requirements for human survival. So if your physiological needs aren't met, it's hard to say that you are a self master. that you're mastering self, that you are this teacher. And I mean, I'm not saying you can't teach somebody something. I'm just saying that it's going to be hard to like reach self-mastery if your physiological needs are not met. So the requirements for human survival is air, food, drink, shelter, clothes, warmth, sex, and sleep, period. No matter what feminine, well, no matter what person come in and try to argue you down, because we have radical people that try to argue down about everything, but sex is definitely a physiological need that you need to survive. So if these things are not satisfied, the human body cannot function optimally, period. Okay. So physiological needs are the most important, as all the other needs become secondary until these needs are met, point blank, period. Okay. So I just want to put it out there. Dun, dun, dun. Now, your safety needs are extremely important. Taking you back to like a story of our ancestor or predecessor, the people that predecessed us, and they would be out hunting, but it gave them that fight or flight. It gave them that fight or flight because they would risk death every day looking for food. You know what I'm saying? So safety needs, once an individual's safety, physiological needs are satisfied, the need for security and safety becomes salient. Okay? Because people want to experience order, predictability, and control in their own existence, right? So the needs can be fulfilled by like your family, the family you've created, spiritual family, possibly security systems, your local PD, a business, and also healthcare as well. Okay? I need a moment. Moment's over. So, things like having emotional security, financial security, uh, law and order, freedom from fear, social stability, owning property, health and well-being. So those things do matter. That comes into your safety needs. It just does, because like having those things is security. It just is. So you just can't have them. You can't have self mastery without these things. Okay. So loving belonging needs, or physiological and safety needs have been fulfilled, then you should be looking for that need. Some people start off with loving belonging needs and they don't have physiological needs and they don't have safety needs met. That's crazy. And they depend on someone else to fulfill those other two needs because they just want to love and belong. And it's just like what they wonder why things don't work out for them, because everything they do is kind of twisted and ass backwards. Dun, dun, dun. So after physiological and safety needs have been fulfilled, the third level of human needs is social and involves feelings of belongingness. Belongingness refers to human emotional needs for interpersonal relationships, affiliating, connectivity, and being part of a group. Okay? Now, these examples include friendship, intimacy, trust, acceptance, receiving and giving affection, and love. Some people only want to receive love. Some people only want to receive support, and they wonder why they haven't mastered their self yet. They're just selfish. Okay? So let's get to the esteem needs, because esteem needs is definitely something that we need to talk about more, and we will talk about it a lot on this self-development blog, the one that we're on this podcast, excuse me. So the fourth level in the Maslow's hierarchy includes self-worth, accomplishment, and respect. Okay. So these needs are into two categories, right? So you get one, which is a need, is an esteem for oneself. Okay, your dignity, your achievement, mastery, independence, and the desire for reputation or respect from others. Okay, that's quote unquote your status and your prestige, right? Now, the next one is that the need for respect or reputation is most important for children and adolescents and precedes real self-esteem or dignity, right? So this is why we always say pour into your children while they're young, telling them they're beautiful, telling them they're smart. Like they do something silly, you say, oh, don't tell them that they're stupid. You like, know what you did was kind of silly, but let's try doing it this way, and it's a more healthier way to do it, because you tell them that they're stupid, they're gonna grow up thinking that they're stupid. Like oh, you do all this dumb stuff. That's not calling them dumb. It's telling them what they're doing is kind of dumb, but you also can rephrase that with, I don't like how you did that. Let's try to do it this way next time. And that's that positive self-talk that we have to, give our children, because if we don't correct ourselves, they're going to believe the things that we say because we're their parents. So you have to be very extremely careful with that. Okay. So self-actualization needs are the highest level in the Maslow's hierarchy. Okay. And it basically refers to realization of a person's ambitions, self-fulfillment, seeking personal growth, and that peak experiences. Okay. So the level is described as the desire to accomplish everything that you can to become the most that one can be, to be your best version of your best self. And this is why, a lot of times I don't even struggle anymore. I used to struggle because I was like, so many people just lie and they say that they achieve self-mastery when, as soon as they're off their social media, they're jealous, they're envious, they're selfish, they don't share with others, and they're not, and they have traits of narcissism. So, and you know what I stopped doing? I stopped analyzing people because it was just like, to me, it wasn't doing me no good. And I just continued to pour out to other people and recognize that people are going to walk their own path, and they want to live a double life. But one day they're going to have to be accountable for them not, being who they say they are. So with self-actualization or self-mastery, I'm not one, and I mean, it'd be wise if you just don't take it at face value and you just see how people operate and see how people do things, and then you can use your discernment and be a judge for yourself. If that makes any sense. So you have to recognize someone, like if they're like a really great parent and an ideal partner for you, and they have really great stability financially, like they know how to take care of their money and their finances. They know how to, their academics world is really good and different things of that nature. And they also exercise and stuff like that. These things do matter. And I know a lot of people say they don't matter. Um, Even creativity is something about mastering yourself. Whatever that person do, like if you just want someone, you just want someone to have someone you don't care, they do nothing all day except for cater to you. That's fine, but that person won't live that long if that's the kind of partner you want, because they're not moving their body, they're not expressing themselves creatively, they're not living in their best potential. And some people want that, and that's sick, but just throwing it out there. So with that being said, I'm gonna go over the pyramid one more time, and then we're gonna move into the 7 steps to self-mastery. Okay. So remember, the bottom of the pyramid, you have the physiological needs, right? Which are food, water, warmth, and rest. The second tier up is safety needs, which is security and safety, right? The next tier up is belongingness and self and love needs, okay? Which is intimate relationships and friends, okay? Um, excuse me. Then you have the next, which is esteem needs, which are prestige and feeling of accomplishments, right? And right after that, you have self actualization, right? Because you're achieving one's full ambition, including creative activities. So it literally have the one squared off, like esteem, belonging, safety, and physiological, all as physiological needs. Esteem and belonging is as physiological needs, and safety and physiological as basic needs. Okay. So that's what I meant to say. I apologize for that. So this this wonderful quote, right? It is quite true that man lives by bread alone when there is no bread. But what happens to man's desire when there is plenty of bread and when his belly is chronically filled? At once, excuse me, at once other and higher needs emerge, and these, rather than physiological hungers, dominate the organism, right? And when these in turn are satisfied again, and still higher needs emerge on. That is what we mean by saying that the basic human needs are organized into a hierarchy of relative prepotency. Period. Dum, dum, dum. Okay. So let me go check out Spoon and see who's on. Hey y'all, hey, good morning, great rising. Hey, my Spoon casters, y'all always show me love. Y'all always come through. Y'all always show love, and I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you, my Spoon caster friends. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay, so let me get into the 7 steps of self-mastery. Dun, dun, dun. There's a whole book called 7 Steps of Self-Mastery as well. So I just want y'all to know that. Um, there's so much information on this. Even in my book, The Yoni Garden, the Maslow hierarchy of needs is definitely in that book. So it has to be like, how could you have a book about elevating yourself or healing yourself without the hierarchy of needs in there? That's why I wonder about a lot of people and their techniques of teaching. So the first need that we have to be met is self-awareness. Okay. So self-awareness definitely is the ability to observe and understand. Okay. So you have to recognize that. So when I mean by observe and understand, you like observe and understand what? Observe and understand our own thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? So self-aware people are perfectly capable of identifying what they feel. Period. It's considered like as a primary driver of introspection and leads to healing, like ourselves, and also to being aware of current thoughts and actions, right? So when you're self-aware, you're accountable. Period. So you self-aware and you go do a crime, you could be charged with it. There's no excuses because you knew what you were doing. Okay, that's what we mean. Self-awareness, all right? Dun, dun, dun. Right. So the next one is self-exploration. Self-exploration is in like all these things that we're talking about right now, the 7 steps to self-mastery are all forever. Like forever, you know how you say you need a forever home or forever family? These are all forever things, okay? So when you think of self-exploration, right? It's the study analysis of our inner selves, right? It's how we connect to our inner self, like inner self-love. That's why I always call self-exploration is inner self-love. Because self-love is internal, right? And self-care is external. Now society is so ass backwards that they make it seem like self-care is internal and self-love is external. I just can't. So when we have these when we think about our internal, we think about, okay, what is inside of us? Our thoughts live inside of us, our belief systems, our core values, our emotions. And by being self-aware, it becomes extremely imperative to um, evaluate that external processors. So when it's essential to try to understand why we are operating the way that we do, and the process of exploring ourselves is complex. Okay, there's a lot of nuances there. It's a huge deal of introspection, right? It takes a lot of research and a lot of patience, and it goes back into the beginning of the first episode of the podcast where I laid out the foundation to optimal wellness, self mastery, whatever you want to call it, was knowledge, application, right? Well, practice, still the same thing, and perseverance. So that's K, P, P. Just remember those: knowledge, practice, and perseverance. Okay. So it allows us to explore and understand how we feel and creates a desire to acquire knowledge through a variety of means, like books, documentaries, groups of people, lectures, all types of things. It propels us into a different type of attitude or a different type of energy, if that makes any sense at all, right? So the next one, of course, is self-discovery, right? So when you think of self-discovery, you probably think like, oh man, what is she talking about? Like, did she not just say self-exploration? Hello. So self-discovery is the simple process of understanding ourselves, right? Self-exploration is the first step. Remember that, okay? So it definitely enables us to embark upon self-discovery, because with self-discovery we have skills, um like the ability to develop more, and the ability to dive deeper more, is like past the matrix, right? Or what you want to call superficialness, past society's wants and needs, past instant gratification. You elevate past beyond all that, right? And you could look into the truths, okay? And there's when the truth is in the present of you, when you're in the presence of the truth, there can be no lies. There can be no misinformation. Okay, so people that are not truth seekers, they will always tell you that there's misinformation when you are living in the truth, when you are walking in the truth, because they themselves don't know what truth is. They only know what a book told them. They only know what society told them. They only know what the news told them. That's all they know. They don't know anything else. So stay away from those type of people when you're on the journey of self-discovery. Okay, because when you look into those truths, they uphold your beliefs, your attitude, and your behaviors, because you're definitely going to be changing by the time you get to this step of self-discovery. Okay, and it will allow you to acquire insights into the reasons of who, what, and why we operate in the manners that we do, if that makes any sense at all. Right? So the next one is self-understanding. Like, listen, you know how many people don't understand themselves? And they really think it's someone else. And this was like a lot of people, these kind of people, they hop in and out of relationships. Like, they got to be with someone. They have to be with someone because they don't understand themselves. They got to pick everybody else apart. Period. Period. Or they got to be in groups of people where they can just bully people or antagonize people because they don't know who they are. They don't understand themselves. They don't understand why they feel so icky inside. So they want to make everybody else feel that way. They want to center somebody out. They want to just find somebody and make them feel that way. So let's talk about more about self-understanding. Okay. Self-understanding is definitely basically called self-knowledge, like knowledge of self, if that makes any sense to y'all. So when you hear knowledge of self, some people get offended. They face their scrunching up because for some reason it's offensive to have knowledge of self. So when you understand what, the how, and why we do things the way we do it, it's closely linked with self-discovery and allows us to formulate logical and coherent understandings of our own actions, feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. It also allows us to try to understand our strengths, our weaknesses, our core values, our attitudes, our motives behind things, our defense mechanisms, and our actions, period. Dun, dun, dun. Period. Now, the next one is self love. Because once you understand yourself, you're going to love everything about yourself. Like, oh, I love that about me. I'm so ambitious. I'm so creative, right? And look at me. Look how beautiful I am. Look at how I was so nice to those people and I didn't even want anything back. That was so wonderful. I love that about me, that I'm empathetic, that I'm giving, that I'm nurturing. All these things are going to come into play when you start taking that journey into self love. And self love is the next step after self discovery. Self-understanding, excuse me. Period. Hey, players mess up too. I need a moment. So, self-love is not being selfish. Okay? Self-love is the result of understanding yourself. Point blank, period. Self-love is the result of understanding yourself. You don't understand yourself, you don't love yourself. If you're still trying to figure it out, you still on the journey to self-love. Doesn't mean you don't love yourself fully. It just means that you're not fully there yet. Because in order to love yourself, you have to understand who you are. If you're still discovering who you are, you haven't gotten into the self-love journey yet. Period. And even though it's a lifetime journey, if you never even try to understand yourself or work on yourself or put that work in, like all that work you put in, downplaying people or invalidating people or making people feel bad about themselves, about their status or whatever, but you haven't put none of that work into understanding your own internal self or understanding your own needs or things like that, then you have some more work to do, baby. Okay? Dun, dun, dun. Now, um, let's talk about self love. So, because a lot of people cannot love oneself without understanding or accepting their own strengths and their weaknesses, right? So, people who love themselves understand that they themselves, along with everyone else, are perfectly flawed humans, right? So, they stop criticizing and punishing themselves for being imperfect, and they embrace themselves in their own entirety, right? So, it allows folks to um receive, and it also allows folks to accept themselves in every regard, right? It's the primary source of high self-esteem. Okay, when you don't love yourself, but then again, you have to remember, because esteem, right, everybody has their own definition of self-esteem. So if you feel like you've done all the work and you're good, but you're doing things that, you know, somebody might say, oh, well, you don't love yourself. That's not always the answer. So don't allow anyone to break you down because they're not a paid licensed psychologist or therapist. Okay. Period. Yeah. So the part that I love that self once that self love kick in, like I haven't used myself as an example all day. I give y'all short. So the journey I've been on the last 3 years has been really, really rough. It's like high tide in the middle of the sea. Like the Red Sea maybe. And you know how the Red Sea be. It just go and it's be cold and it's like that's where all the crabs be at and stuff like that and all the fishermen boats they get killed. I mean they get expired and different things like that. It just be like a really rough time, a really rough journey. So my journey, because I don't think you ever can leave the journey of self love once you start it, but my journey to master self love over the last 3 years, to master it, it has been tried and true. And the best part is the part that I'm living in now is self transformation. Because I have literally changed my thoughts on a lot of things, my perspectives. I've changed my energy and how I transmutate my energy and different things of that nature. So the next one is self transformation. And I just wanted to give y'all a little short so you can understand what I was talking about when I'm speaking on self transformation. Is like everything about me has elevated in ways that I would have never thought I could be, like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and things of that nature. Okay. So it's like a metamorphosis that you actually experience, actually, when you think about it. So, only when you are capable of loving yourself internally, despite the numerous flaws or whatever you may experience in a human existence, that's when you develop that transformation, the internal transformation that I was just speaking on. So, transformational experiences is one of the most profound experiences, right? So it transcends us beyond the previous limitations and destructive tendencies that we had before, if that makes any sense, right? So it's going to allow all of us, like all of us in the human experience, to experience divine changes in our existence, and allows us to increase harmony in this world. We're going to get new opportunities. We're always going to meet new people. There's always going to be doors opening up for us because the way that we see the world is completely different, and I'm just completely grateful to experience a self transformation and that metamorphosis, because I just feel like that's a lifetime gift, because it's the gift that keeps giving, period. Woo! Now we are at the top of the pyramid, which is what? Self mastery. Okay. So, self mastery, we are here. Hello. Shout out to self mastery. Period. So, self mastery is a primary goal for those striving for evolution. Okay. So, in essence, the master of self becomes completely and utterly aware of their feelings, their thoughts, allowing the masters to simply observe every humanly internal aspect without reacting to it. And we all wish that we can be masters of our own self, right? So, I caught myself yesterday. I mean, I'm not going to go into a story about me, but just give yourself an example. Like, say, if, for example, if you were arguing with someone or someone was arguing, because if you're a self master, someone's going to be arguing with you. Somebody's going to have a beef with you. And you're not even going to know where these beefs come from. You're just going to look at them and be like, you know what? I'm sorry you feel that way. And you're going to be able to walk away from that like it's nothing. You're not going to want to debate them. You're not going to go to your friends and tell them what happened, because you realize that this person has a problem. I'm not going to entertain the problem. I'm just going to live my life and keep it moving. So that's you mastering your chi, mastering your G, okay? And you're like, well, how does that happen? Well, it's because the self master has transcended beyond all of his momentary feelings, his or her momentary feelings, um, thoughts, you know, and that literally takes them beyond themselves, right? So you're living an existence that's truly tranquil, harmonious, and spiritually whole. That is so beautiful, right? It is. Okay. So the master of oneself simply does not slave. They're not slave to their own thoughts. Like their minds are not cluttered. Their emotions are not bothered. They're not trying to seek revenge on people. And that's basically the primary driving force in the world. And that's why the world is so chaotic, because people are not balanced and they're not, walking in their righteous truth. They're following other people's path and they just don't know who they are. So self-mastery definitely allows us to observe our internal processors, with the humanely tendency to identify with them. Okay. So it's the only way to experience what it means to realize that we are more than our thoughts and emotions, period. It's the epitome of internal peace. Okay. You are more than your thoughts and emotions, people. Hello. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So with that being said, I don't, I'm gonna head out of here. But I'm so happy y'all stopped by today. It's Monday morning, so I want to keep it moving. But thank y'all so much for coming by. I am your host, Empress Coach Rena Nicole of RenaNicole.com, Divine Intervention Show and Podcast. And just a quick reminder, we were streaming live from StreamYard, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Clubhouse, and Spooncast, and Anchor. And also, these podcasts will be up on Spotify. So, with that being said, don't forget to check us out tomorrow a.m. at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our AM inspiration to wake that ass up, the self development podcast. And thank you so much for stopping by. Peace, y'all. Thank you.